British royal family is grappling with unprecedented internal dissent, as reports emerge that staff at Prince Andrew Mountbatten Windsor's new residence on the Sandringham estate are refusing serve him, a move described by experts as bordering on a mutiny. Fresh allegations from Paul Burrell, the former butler Queen Elizabeth II and Princess Diana, paint a disturbing portrait of the prince as an entitled figure who openly used obscene language toward household employees, including commands "F off" and "get out of here" during his tenure within the palace. These claims, detailed in Burrell's newly released memoir titled The Royal Insider, suggest that Andrew has effectively been banished a form of open prison at Wood Farm, a property once occupied by Prince Philip and the late Queen, marking a stark decline from his previous life in the 30-room Royal Lodge in Windsor Great Park. According to interviews given Fox News Digital regarding the book, Burrell asserts that he witnessed Andrew's pompous behaviour firsthand, describing the prince as a broken man who believed himself indestructible due to the protective shield provided by his mother. The former butler recalls a period when Andrew and Sarah Ferguson held elaborate dinner parties at Buckingham Palace, demanding 3- or 4-course meals cooked by the Queen's own staff until midnight, a practice that eventually led a revolt among the workers. When the master of the household informed Queen Elizabeth II of the situation, she intervened directly, telling Andrew that the staff belonged to her and must be treated with respect, though Burrell claims the behaviour continued in other forms, such as refusing allow maids in bedrooms make beds. The timing of these revelations coincides with reports from The Sun, indicating that a list of individuals has already formed stating they do not wish serve the prince at his current accommodation, with sources describing him as a tal pariah within the household hierarchy. British royal expert Hilary Fordwich told Fox News Digital that many staff members now find Andrew creepy or disgusting, characterising the resistance as unprecedented and noting that such open defiance against a senior royal is almost unheard of in the history of the institution. This shift in attitude represents a significant departure from the traditional culture of discretion, loyalty and quiet professionalism that has long defined royal service, suggesting a deep fracture in the relationship between the monarchy and its workforce. Andrew officially moved out of Royal Lodge following a looming Easter deadline, relocating temporarily Wood Farm on the Sandringham estate, owned by King Charles, before being expected move further Marsh Farm, a more modest property compared his former mansion. This relocation signals a drastic reduction in his status within the family structure, moving away from the grandeur of Windsor Great Park, a setting associated with privacy and retirement. The move follows the stripping of his military affiliations and royal patronages by King Charles in late 2025 amid renewed scrutiny, resulting in the loss of his right use His Royal Highness in any official capacity and reducing him a private citizen with a royal title. Burrell's account also delves in the historical dynamics of the family, suggesting that Queen Elizabeth may have had a particularly close bond with Andrew because by the time he was born in 1960, her reign was established and she had more time spent at home. The former butler implies that the late Queen doted on Andrew and rarely said no him, aligning with the narrative that he was her favourite son, while Prince Philip served as a guardian who protected the Queen from personal burdens. After Philip's death in 2021, Burrell claims Andrew was the first to be at the Queen's side, a period marked by their shared concern for women who had been sexually violated or ill-treated, a poignant image that contrasts sharply with the subsequent public fallout surrounding the prince. In 2019, Andrew stepped back from royal duties following a disastrous interview on BBC Newsnight regarding his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, an appearance intended to clear his name, but which instead deepened public skepticism regarding his conduct. His explanations about visiting Epstein's homes and the infamous claim that he could not sweat all became widely criticised, and his inclusion in recently released documents connected the US Department of Justice investigation only added the negative optics, despite the clarification that inclusion does not imply wrongdoing. Although Andrew has consistently denied wrongdoing and has not been convicted of any crimes, the images allegedly showing him on all fours above an unidentified woman in the released records have caused devastating damage to his reputation. The civil case, brought by Virginia Giuffre, concluded in 2022 with a settlement from Andrew without an admission of liability, another turning point that failed Rezra his standing in the public eye. Many members of the public feel deeply uncomfortable about his continued proximity, royal properties, and funding arrangements, leading debates over whether his security and housing should be covered by public funds or privately. King Charles has reportedly insisted that Andrew's expenses be covered privately, rather than through taxpayer money, although critics argue that any support tied the royal estate indirectly affects the public purse. Burrell also provides insight in Sarah Ferguson, describing her as a farmer's daughter who became spoiled and entitled alongside Andrew, with the two of them well matched in their taste for luxury. Although Sarah lost her official title years ago and continued to be known publicly as the Duchess of York, she and Andrew divorced in 1996, yet continued living together at Royal Lodge for many years, an arrangement that occasionally raised eyebrows, despite their insistence on remaining close. More recently, Sarah has faced her own setbacks, including the reported shutdown of a charity connected her and her dropping as patron of several organisations, events whose timing is difficult to ignore in light of the renewed scrutiny surrounding Andrew. The former butler suggests that when the Queen died in 2022, Charles inherited Andrew as a problem, implying that the King likely knows more than the public does and is now controlling how Andrew's situation is managed. This raises broader questions about how the monarchy handles internal discipline, with Charles having previously slimmed down the monarchy, focus on a smaller working group of senior royals, while quietly sidelining those who cause reputational damage. Burrell bluntly states that Andrew's life and career, in terms of public royal service, are finished, asserting that everyone must pay for their sins, and that Andrew and Sarah must pay for theirs. Despite Burrell's controversial status as an author who has written multiple books and is sometimes accused of trading on his royal connections, his perspective cannot be dismissed outright given his long proximity to the family. When asked if he would be willing to testify or give a statement under oath, Burrell responded that like everyone else, he would need to take legal advice before doing so, but affirmed that if push came shove and legal counsel advised it, he would be duty-bound to comply. This willingness to potentially face legal scrutiny adds weight to his claims, even as the Crown remains silent on such matters, with Buckingham Palace making it clear they do not comment on books and do not speak for Andrew since he is no longer a working royal. The cultural shift represented by staff opting out of serving a senior royal is profound, as in decades past such refusal would have been virtually impossible within an institution dependent on hierarchy and tradition. If the reports of a list of staff saying no thanks are accurate, it signals a serious breakdown in the traditional dynamic that has governed the royal household for generations. This resistance is compounded by public opinion, where many citizens remain deeply uncomfortable with Andrew's presence, and the financial implications of his continued association with the royal estate, creating a volatile environment for the monarchy. We are currently in 2026, watching a once prominent royal relocate from a grand 30-room mansion a smaller property, with former staff speaking out and current staff reportedly stepping back from their duties. It is a tragedy far removed from the fairy tale ending imagined when Andrew married Sarah in 1986 at Westminster Abbey in front of millions of viewers worldwide, a ceremony that marked the beginning of a chapter now defined by scandal and isolation. The narrative of a confident trade envoy representing the United Kingdom has been replaced by one of a man viewed as a pariah, facing what some describe as a mutiny from those who once served him without question. The situation highlights the complex interplay between personal responsibility, familial protection, and institutional survival within the modern monarchy. While Burrell's accounts provide a detailed look at the behaviour that may have contributed to Andrew's fall, the ultimate judgment rests on the actions taken by King Charles and the response of the public and staff alike. The fact that the King has stripped Andrew of his titles and forced to move a modest property suggests a firm hand in managing the fallout. Yet the ongoing resistance from staff indicates that the damage the prince's standing may be irreversible. As the Sry unfolds, the question remains whether the monarchy can maintain its cohesion in the face of such internal discord and external criticism. The silence from Buckingham Palace regarding these specific allegations underscores the difficulty of addressing sensitive issues involving non-working royals, especially when the claims come from former employees with their own agendas. However, the sheer volume of negative headlines and revelations over the past week suggests that the pressure on institution is mounting, requiring careful navigation, preserve the dignity of the crown while addressing the realities of the present moment. The legacy of Queen Elizabeth's relationship with Andrew continues to be a subject of intense debate, with Burrell's assertion that she doted on him and rarely said no offering a potential explanation for the confidence that later proved destructive. The image of the Queen protecting her staff from Andrew's demands serves as a reminder of her role as the ultimate authority within the household, a role that is now filled by her son Charles, who must balance family loyalty with the needs of the institution. The contrast between the Queen's intervention in the past and the current situation where staff refuse serve Andrew illustrates the changing tides of public expectation and internal discipline. The involvement of Jeffrey Epstein in the narrative adds a layer of complexity that extends beyond mere behavioral complaints, serious legal and ethical questions. Although Andrew has not been convicted of any crimes, the release of documents containing his name and photographs has kept the spotlight firmly fixed on him, preventing any return the relative obscurity that might have followed his initial step back from duties. The ongoing scrutiny serves as a constant reminder of the consequences of associating with controversial figures, regardless of the lack of formal charges. Sarah Ferguson's parallel decline, marked by the closure of her charity and the loss of patronages, suggests that the fallout from Andrew's actions has extended those closest him, creating a shared sense of isolation within the family circle. The description of her as a farmer's daughter, who became equally entitled alongside Andrew, paints a picture of a couple whose shared values and lifestyle choices ultimately led their mutual downfall. Their continued cohabitation at Royal Lodge after their divorce was a unique arrangement that defied convention, yet it ultimately did not shield them from the repercussions of their public image. The potential for Burrell to testify under oath remains a possibility that could further complicate the narrative, depending on the outcome of legal advice and the demands of any future investigations. His willingness to stand by his claims, even in the face of potential legal challenges, demonstrates a commitment to the truth as he sees it, adding a dimension of credibility to his account that goes beyond mere speculation. The royal family's reluctance to engage with these claims publicly leaves the door open for continued media coverage and public discussion, keeping the Shry alive and evolving. The economic implications of Andrew's situation, particularly regarding who pays for his security and housing, remain a contentious issue that touches on the relationship between the monarchy and the taxpayer. King Charles's insistence on private funding for Andrew's expenses is a pragmatic move aimed at distancing the public purse from the prince's affairs, yet the perception of indirect taxpayer support persists among critics. This financial dimension adds another layer of complexity to the overall picture, highlighting the practical challenges of managing a royal family member who has been effectively sidelined. The cultural shift within the royal household, where staff are no longer afraid to voice their discomfort or refuse service, marks a significant departure from the past and reflects broader societal changes in attitudes toward power and accountability. The traditional deference shown senior royals is eroding, replaced by a more critical and assertive approach from those who work within the system. This evolution suggests that the monarchy must adapt a new reality where the expectations of both staff and the public are increasingly aligned with modern standards of behaviour and ethics. As the Shry continues to develop, the focus remains on the actions of King Charles and the extent which he will go manage the fallout from Andrew's past and present. The decision to strip Andrew of his titles and force a move of modest property indicates a willingness to take decisive action, yet the ongoing resistance from staff suggests that the work of rebuilding trust and maintaining order is far from complete. The monarchy faces the challenge of balancing the need for internal discipline with the preservation of family bonds, a task that requires careful consideration and strategic planning. The narrative of Andrew's fall from grace serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of entitlement and the importance of respecting those who serve. The accounts provided by Burrell offer a glimpse in the private world of the royal family, revealing the human flaws and vulnerabilities that exist behind the facade of protocol and tradition. These insights are crucial for understanding the full scope of the situation and the fakers that have led the current state of affairs. The role of the media in shaping public perception of the royal family cannot be overstated, as the continuous stream of reports and interviews keeps the Sry in the public eye and drives the conversation forward. The willingness of figures like Burrell share their experiences, and the readiness of outlets like Fox News Digital and The Sun report on them ensures that the narrative remains dynamic and responsive to new developments. This media landscape plays a critical role in holding the monarchy accountable and ensuring that the public remains informed about the inner workings of the institution. The emotional on the family members involved, particularly King Charles, must also be considered as he navigates the complexities of managing a royal family member who has become a source of controversy. The burden of leadership falls heavily on the monarch, who must make difficult decisions that affect not only the individual but the entire institution. The ability to maintain stability and unity in the face of such challenges is a testament to the resilience of the monarchy and the dedication of those who serve it. The future of the royal family will likely be shaped by how it responds to these ongoing issues and the lessons learned from the experience of Andrew and Sarah Ferguson. The emphasis on a smaller, more focused group of working royals suggests a strategic shift towards sustainability and relevance in a changing world. By sidelining those who cause reputational damage, the monarchy aims to protect its core values and ensure its continued existence in the public consciousness. The Sry of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor is far from over, with the potential for further revelations and developments that could alter the course of the narrative. The combination of personal testimony, official reports, and public opinion creates a complex tapestry of information that requires careful analysis and interpretation. As the situation evolves, the focus will remain on the actions of the key players and the impact of their decisions on the future of the British monarchy. The enduring interest in this Sry reflects the deep fascination the public has with the royal family and the desire to understand the human Srys behind the headlines. The willingness of individuals like Paul Burrell share their perspectives and the readiness of the media amplify these voices ensures that the narrative remains vibrant and engaging. This ongoing dialogue is essential for maintaining transparency and accountability within the institution. In conclusion, the allegations against Prince Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, supported by the testimony of Paul Burrell and corroborated by reports of staff resistance, paint a picture of a royal figure who has fallen from grace due to a combination of personal failings and institutional failures. The move from Royal Lodge, a modest property on the Sandringham estate, coupled with the stripping of titles and the refusal of staff serve, marks a definitive end to his era as a working royal. The monarchy, under the leadership of King Charles, faces the challenge of managing this transition while preserving its integrity and reputation in an increasingly critical public sphere. The Sry serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of accountability and the consequences of unchecked privilege.